The Quack Attack is back, Jack. We are live and doing another monthly little chat here. The month of May flying away, and we know you guys are busy, so we'll keep tonight short and sweet. But for those of you that don't know me, I'm Michael Bedell, owner of Bedell Property Management, and I'm part of the Echo Means Business User Advisory Group. And do these chats once a month, and we started kind of doing some Meet the Pros kind of on off weeks too. I know we did one with Pablo, which was a banger. If you haven't watched it, you should. But we're going to have a fun little chat tonight, probably a timely chat because everyone's busy and we all want to make a bunch of money. But before we do that, I want to introduce my buddy Orion here, and then we'll dive in and chat more. So Orion, tell everybody what you got going on.
Yes, sir. Yeah, my name's Orion Rustin. Excuse me. My name's Orion Rustin, the owner of Lawn Enforcement Landscaping. We're based out of West Virginia, Martinsburg, West Virginia to be exact. But we service a lot. All we pretty much do on the maintenance side is just commercial properties. I'd probably say about 60 miles outside of DC area, and we service everything from Maryland, DC, West Virginia, everything like that.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yes,
I didn't know you worked in multiple states. That's crazy.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
And
We've been in business. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Yeah. We've been in business for 11 years. It's just a grind. It's a grind.
Wow, 11 years. That's awesome. And do you got like a bunch of people working for you, or are you an owner operator, or where are you at?
Yes, sir. So yeah, we on the maintenance side, we have about 10 people. And then on the landscape side, we're right around 7 to 8. We'd like to get that number up to 10 as well. But yeah, so we have approximately about 15 people. We have 2 office people. So yeah, we're definitely we're trying to grow.
Yeah, right on. That's quite the operation. I maxed out at 13 people, and that was like a decade ago. And then I got smaller, and it kind of turned into a small outfit. But yeah, I remember those days where you got the lawn crew, and then you got the maintenance crews going. And yeah, so do you guys do any like plant healthcare work, like fertilizer or anything, or?
We don't really touch too much fertilizing, excuse me. Again, for us, we do a lot of just exterior maintenance on commercial property. So we'll do everything. We'll do light bulb changes for large format commercial properties such as warehouses, things like that. We'll do just everything on the exterior side, and then we'll also do fences and decks and stuff like that as well.
Oh, right on. So do you have to get like a builder's license to get into any of that type of stuff?
Yeah. Yes. So typically we have to get we do have to have a contractor's license. Yes.
That's awesome. Right on. Well, what a heck of an operation you have. And so you're the guy we want to talk to. I know there's a lot of money in Maryland and DC and what have you. And so tonight's topic is how to keep costs low and profits high. And obviously, I mean, you got 2 office people, you got 17 people at least. I know if you're like my buddy Greg, you end up having kind of more people to try and get 17 people to show up every day, right?
That's it right there. How many show up?
Yeah, then that's a battle right there. So you had we chatted before, and you mentioned you had some ideas based on that size operation. What are some things that you do in your business to keep costs low and profits high?
For sure. So first off is understanding your numbers, right? So we've definitely talked about that, knowing your numbers, knowing what your baseline numbers is, how much it costs every day to operate. That's first and foremost. Second off is route density, right? So again, if you're looking at things on the residential side, if we're going to do a neighborhood, how many houses can we do in there? Even if that means cutting our costs lower, so that way it's kind of like a Sam's Club or a Costco deal, right? Everything's in bulk. So again, if our normal house is $50, then yeah, okay, we'll take the $40 hit if we can get you, your neighbor, and 5 other houses, right? So again, keeping everything really condensed. I think that's one of the biggest ways, outside of knowing your numbers and knowing what it costs you just to, start a truck up.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more. Back when I had a bunch of guys, there was two subdivisions that we just dominated. We had like 40 some houses in one and 60 in another, and it was basically like set up and working it all day, and it was really good until it wasn't. But it was kind of what you were saying was like we could also like make more money and like be a dollar cheaper than everyone else, if that was a thing and it mattered. But the other thing that I did was I created custom mailers for those specific subdivisions, and I like had gotten the subdivision directory back. Like email's probably a bigger deal now, but this is back before everyone had email addresses. And I got the subdivision directory, printed out like address labels, and they got these postcards made up that had like the subdivision logo on it. And so it was like extremely targeted. And I'd like back off all like our current clients so they weren't getting spammed with mail. But that was like really like the people, like if they didn't catch us just out there servicing or like hear it from the neighbor, now they're getting it in the mail. And like eventually everybody caved. And like there was even like situations, and I'm sure you run into this, where like everyone knows like the other companies in the sub, right? And the guy who's like he has 4 or 5 and he's getting out because he's working on route density, he's going to come to you and be like, yo, let's just do this 4 or 5, like path of least resistance. You're the guy, right?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. That's really smart. I really like that. With printing out the material and having the actual subdivision logo on it. That's smart. That's
Yeah,
really...
yeah. I don't know why, like how I thought of that, but I did it in one sub and it worked really well. So the next year I did it in like the next sub, and that's how we went from like 10 or 15 houses to like I said, it was like 40 something in one. And I think we got to like 62 in the other. It was like a 120 house sub, and it was like us cutting 60, this other company cutting like 40, and the rest were people cutting themselves. And no, it was good. It was like fun. It was fun. And like the only other thing that you can do like in lieu of that is just provide a bunch of services at one single property. And it's kind of like the same thing as route density. Instead of cutting like 6 lawns, if you go to one like estate and provide 6 different services and you're there all day, and that's kind of more what I've migrated to now. It's kind of like the same thing as route density. And you can get those same like margins that are hard to achieve if you're spread out running all over. And let me ask you a question. In Michigan, our governor ran on fix the damn roads, and like I don't know why, but like this is the year. She's like, no, I was serious. Like I meant all the roads, and they're all under construction. Yep. So is it like that by you too?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the area that we're in is rapidly growing. So with the the influx of people, the traffic, and then like you said, with it being this time of year, I mean, there's road work everywhere, and they're doing new subdivisions, and then you got to take detours because certain roads are closed down, for putting in water mains and things like that. So, again, I think a lot of people, I know for me early on in business, I didn't really understand that part of it, where how much time and money as an owner you lose in the windshield time. I mean, it is. And then, as you start to progress and get more and more people, and you have to, pay them fair wages and things like that, and they're riding around in a truck all day, that kind of that'll eat through a lot of your profits.
100%. Yeah, I mean, you're but paying people to get to sites is part of the business, but if you can somehow limit it or spread that cost out amongst everybody, like those are the ways that you can keep costs low and profits high. Otherwise, you just get eaten alive. You mentioned there's a lot of development going on around you. Has that been a really great avenue for like new business? Have you been able to team up with new builders, or not maybe new builders, but builders on new developments for them?
Yeah, absolutely. So, great question. Yeah, for us, again, we do new installs especially for like commercial properties. So again, we've kind of gone more the commercial route. So again, like they're putting in, I don't know if you guys are familiar with like Wawa gas stations or Royal Farms. There's a lot of those sheets, things of that such. There's a lot of those coming, new ones. And yeah, so we've definitely teamed up with on the commercial side with a lot of the builders to do the new landscape installs and stuff like that.
And that's a great way to save money on advertising. If you at your size operation, if you're not constantly shedding money just trying to get in front of people and trying to get new work coming in, just keep guys busy so they stick around. If you're loaded to the gills like it sounds like you are, where you've got your current work and then you got this new work in the pipeline, yeah, then you're really able to capitalize and make use of that money to invest it into the people and the business, and some money for Orion. And that's not a bad thing either. And you're not making advertising and marketing companies rich, because unfortunately I think a lot of people find out that they're quick to take your money, and then maybe you get the results, maybe you don't. And that's why maybe I did the little bit more bootstraps version of the marketing that I did, a while back with the postcards. Is it was there was a local print shop and postage was this much, and I could do everything in Photoshop, so that didn't cost anything, and it was cheaper than hiring some type of mailing company, and then they want to hit the whole zip code, right? But maybe you don't want to hit the whole zip code, or like you were saying, you don't want to hit the houses, you want to talk to commercial people, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so
for sure. And that kind of like what you were saying too is like your I think it's seven rounds, where if we are at a house mowing and the guys get done, we usually take the guys and say, hey, or what we did in the past when we were doing a lot of residentials, we would say, hey, here's a bunch of door hangers. Go to the 7 houses surrounding the one that you went to, right? And make sure that you put a door hanger up, put a door hanger up. Try to make sure that we are still drumming up that business. And again, when you look at that from the advertising standpoint, you don't have to pay, like you said, you don't have to pay. You just have the cost of the advertising material, and then on top of that, your guys are still being productive, or you're being productive if you're an owner operator. I love it. I think it's great.
Yeah, door hangers are great too, because especially like nowadays with like Ring doorbells, like people kind of like see you coming, and like maybe they'll even like intercept you or one of your guys, and like that's great because now like there's a conversation happening. And people, I would also say, are more inclined to not do it themselves. I mean, like, why does DoorDash exist, right? So like, that was, you said that 20 years ago, people were like, I think people make their own food, I don't know, but now, like, absolutely not. So that's great. And you're smart to also know that like it's harder to do that on commercial type stuff, right? But like, you got to read the market you're in, and what your core focus is. And I think that alone is another thing that can really be a differentiator between like high profits and not, is figuring out, what exactly you're looking for. Somebody said to me a while ago, like, in baseball, they don't swing at every pitch. They know what pitch they're looking for, and they're okay knowing that they may not even swing at this at bat because they're going to get walked, or whatever it is. And it like you can't get mad. If you don't see what you're looking for, then you just gotta keep looking at the next at bat. And I see way too many guys like trying to always do the latest greatest thing, and they kind of run themselves all over, when it's like, Little Caesars made a lot of money with just hot and ready pizzas, right? The McDouble, or the McChicken sandwich, or whatever it is. Like at McDonald's, like sometimes the cheap and easy is what leads to a lot of profits, and you don't have to like do this big extravagant thing and be everywhere all over the place. Just something that I've observed in my almost 20 years of doing this now. It's crazy how it flies by, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
OBX Grass Cutter says that's a good point about the Ring doorbell. Yeah, absolutely. And so, on that note, and I'm sure Orion does a great job of this, is like, make sure your guys are put together and like are representing everything well. Because if they're going to go up to that door, like there's a better chance than ever that they're not just like clipping that door hanger on and tiptoeing away. They want to, they get intercepted. They want to look presentable and maybe kind of know what they're going to say, whether it's short and sweet and get them on the phone with Orion because he's going to make the sale, or like they already know the deal and like, yeah, we could cut you for $45 right now, or $145 or whatever it is. Right. Absolutely. And that's that way, like everyone kind of knows what the mission is. Otherwise, you go through all this trouble of printing stuff off and then you don't get the result. And it's a bummer if it's like, oh yeah, because your guy, it was smoking a cigarette and blew all the smoke in my face, or, needed to pull his pants up, or, the girl was talking on her phone and I was like, what? And so, we don't want that type of stuff. So what are some other ideas you had on keeping costs low and profits high? Anything else?
Yeah, so I think one of the big things, honestly, is investing in the right equipment one time, right? Like, so again, we've all tried to save money and maybe buy some equipment that isn't the right grade for what we're doing. What I mean by that is, it might not be professional grade. It might be, the cheaper trimmer or whatever that is. And you put it through the ringer, or it's in the back of a trailer, or it's in the back of your truck, and it might not last as long. Again, quality. How can we provide the biggest quality to our clients with being budget friendly, but at the same time, we want to make the one-time investment, make it right the first time, and just go with that. It might hurt on the front end, but you'll get your money back on the back end. So again, making sure you have the right equipment for the right job, making sure you're buying the right quality equipment as well.
100%, and I see some of the bigger operations in my market do like kind of like rental mow program with one of our bigger dealers, where like they don't even own the mowers, they rent it, but it means zero downtime. Like they can just swap things out, and they also like go like new every two on like all handheld equipment and even some trucks, and like you're like, wow, like really? But like it means like zero downtime. And the downtime is like, I guess, especially at that level, one of the most costly things. Or if it's like that, just get them a new weed whip, right? And not just get them any weed whip, get them like the top of the line, right? Get them a 2620T, right? That way you got all the power and you're ready to go. All right, we got a question here. Mm-hmm. Scott says, do you keep gas on shop site over crews driving to a gas station each day? Ooh, that's a good one. What say you?
So we have we have fuel at our shop. We have diesel and gasoline. So we have it at our shop, but then we also, because we are kind of spread out, the guys they have gas cards as well. So, if they're on a large property, they need to leave, they can still get fuel. But yes, we do have gas at our shop. Again, we talk about, budget and things of that such. You do get somewhat of a break if you're to that point, to whereby, if you keep gas at your facility, it is a little cheaper by the gallon.
Yeah, 100%. We used to do the same thing, and it was not only was it cheaper, but like we were able to get our hands on like recreation fuel instead of just gas, and so we found it made the equipment run better, and actually like and I don't understand scientifically how, but we found we were getting like more lawns cut out of the same tank of gas, and it was one of those where like it kind of exactly what you were saying. Like recreation fuel is like another gallon or $1 a gallon more expensive, and you go, oh, why would you want to do that? But then when you're like, oh, because it actually makes you more money. Like,
Yeah.
who would have thought about that? So there's certainly merit to spending more on the front end because it's those unrealized or unthought of costs, and then people also don't realize the risk that you take of trying to cut corners. And unfortunately, I think you kind of just gotta learn an element of that over time.
For sure.
That
And
that
the other thing about the gas at site is how much downtime are we paying, or how much time are we spending at like a gas station? And guys will go in there and I'm guilty of it too. Like, listen, I'll go into the gas station for to get the fuel or to get some fuel, and I'll come out with a bag of gummy bears or whatever that is, looking around however it works. And you're spending a lot of time in the convenience store.
and there's the obligatory employee that's like in the bathroom for 20 minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, all of a sudden it's like, I thought you guys went to get gas. It's been 45 minutes. Oh, well, like,
Yep. Absolutely.
So, yeah, I mean, you do that times like a bunch of guys with what labor is now, and it's like, dude, that's $100 bathroom trip. Cut that out.
Yeah. Exactly.
Like, I hope you had a good time, man. The client stands for that one. And I guess that's, as funny as it is, that's really something that, like, you touched on it earlier, budgeting, but like accounting for all the intangible things that are going to happen. Like, it's really obvious, like commercial client calls Orion, needs their shrubs trimmed, right? Because everything's growing like crazy right now. And obviously, he looks at the shrubs and he knows, like, all right, it's going to be 5 labor hours to get these, pruned and cleaned up. But then the hour each way driving, and then the one guy ate too much Taco Bell yesterday, so he's going to the bathroom. And so all of a sudden it's like 9 labor hours, not 5, right? And that's where a lot of people get stretched on stuff, is they don't quite account for all that extra stuff. And that's like, they did do the shrubs in 5 hours. We just didn't account for all that drive time. And sometimes I do some plant health work for another contractor, and he wanted me to go take care of this like big name person in the area that's apparently a client of his, but they're like way far away. And I shot him like a ridiculous price because I didn't want to couldn't say no, but like I figured that was a nice way to say no. And he was kind of like, dude, I didn't know things were that expensive. And I'm like, well, their yard's not small for starters, but like, you're paying for like 2.5 hours of drive time. Like, what do you think? Like, if that's what they want to pay, we can figure something out. But like, otherwise, like, yeah, dude, you have me doing all these sites grouped together in a route in this tight little area. Then you want me to send me out to BFE and want me to do it at the same price? Like, no. Doesn't work that way.
Absolutely.
Doesn't work that way at all. And it's the intangible. It's not this yard's bad or I can't use the equipment, or I gotta, do it, Salt Bay style or something like that. It's none of that. It's a long way. And then the construction and, all the other stuff. And then ultimately, making sure that you account for like maintenance, or the fact that there is going to be some downtime. The risk is higher on bigger jobs or bigger sites that like eventually at some point throughout the season, someone's getting the mower stuck or, whatever it is. I'm sure that's never happened to you though, Ryan, right? Never.
Last week.
Yeah.
Last week. I personally put one in the pond. Yeah. A retention pond. Yeah. So hey, listen, I get it.
It happens to the best of us.
Oh yeah. Brand new X-Mark. Yep.
Oh man, yeah, we've done that one. Mm-hmm. It's so shiny, and then it's not.
Yeah.
And you can power wash and clean up, but it's still not as clean as it was before it got really stuck. Yeah. I've gotten things stuck. I've had guys put stuff in a lake before. Thankfully, not like too bad. Thankfully, they got it out before I got there. So I would have gotten a little mad, but it is what it is. It is what it is. So just a few other quick ideas we had, and then we're going to land the plane here because we know it's a busy time of year. We appreciate everybody joining in, listening live. And if not, you guys probably listen to this later as like a podcast or on YouTube, hot damn Instagram. It's all great. So obviously we talked about providing a premium level of service because it doesn't matter. It could be like, fine restaurants or resorts or exotic cars. Like, people are used to paying a premium. Then there are times where they'll pay a premium to get your time. And as long as you're able to provide that premium level of service, it can really put you into kind of a different echelon where the margins can be much, much higher than maybe some more cutthroat type work. And then ultimately join a trade group, look to get degrees or certifications. Turns out people with lots of money have degrees and certifications and like talking to other people with degrees and certifications. Don't kill me. I'm just the messenger. And so that's just something I've learned. And other than that, obviously you want to have a great relationship with your bank and your suppliers and any subcontractors you use. Do you sub anything out, Orion?
No, we do everything.
You do everything?
We do everything in-house. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, the only thing I really sub out is like big tree removal, stuff like that. I do some of the pruning and what have you, but big stuff. I got my buddy Mike, and him and his boys take care of all. In fact, they got a big pine tree they're taking out for me in like a week and a half, and it's great. Like, he's the go-to. He's really meticulous. Good group of guys, and I've worked with them for over a decade, and they're worth the wait. But
how were you able to develop that relationship with the sub that you use, the tree guy?
That's a great question, and it's like so random actually. So the tree company is actually part of another big landscape company, and they basically, how do I put this? There was a company that I years ago was doing some snowplow subcontract work for, and the guy that was running that is kind of like an industry icon. He's been in magazines, and he's kind of moved into more retirement, but he was kind of like a big name that was thrown around 10 or 15 years ago. And he ended up moving on from the company he like built his career at to kind of like fly off the radar and move into retirement, and went over to this other company to kind of really solidify and firm up their snow operation. That was kind of like his like swan song, if you will. And through him moving over there, it was like, hey, if you ever need some tree stuff. And that spring, like, we kind of gotten thrown into the mix on this bigger private HOA culvert engineered nonsense. It was a huge pain in the butt project. And they ended up doing like a really good job on it, and kind of saved my butt a little bit, to be honest, just because I had a lot going on. And like every time I showed up, I'm like, dude, this is amazing. You guys are doing really great. And everyone was really happy. But it was just kind of random, actually. It's like all who you know, right? Networking. And when Jim moved from working with the one company to Premier, where I think he still like consults there, but I think he's basically retired now. But he Mike or Miguel, who runs the tree thing, he did that big project, and then like they needed some more stuff at that site. And then, it's just like whenever stuff comes up, I just call him, and he's always a couple weeks out because he's always super busy. But like, he's like very reliable, and he like knows that most of the time he's like setting stuff up for me to come in and do some type of installation work. So he's like takes that part really seriously, where it's not like I'm showing up. I'm like, oh man, now I got to do more stump grinding or whatever it is. He does a real good job of basically holding up his end of the deal so that like it's a no-brainer. Like it's like, of course I'm calling him because he's just like he's part of the team, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
But it's all who you know, right? And right place at right time, and it's kind of funny because they also like are part of a landscaping company, and they answer to Mike or Miguel's boss is Juan, and I've met Juan a handful of times. He's a really nice guy, but like I don't really get to deal with Juan very much because I don't know. I feel like at this point he might be headed to retirement too. He's done pretty well for himself over the years. So
Really
yeah,
good. That's awesome to be able to form those relationships with people in the industry. I think that's huge. That's important. That's important. Very important.
Well said. Well said. Yeah, I learned early on, kind of growing up in the construction industry, that relationships go a long way, and even like whether it's work related or even like with different properties I've had or whatever. There's been times where you need to assemble the team where. You get to know a bunch of people over the years and you know what their strengths are. And then when things hit the fan, you're able to kind of, it's like Marvel action, like the Avengers or something like that. You assemble the team and like you go fight evil or whatever, right?
Cool. Yeah, no, that's great. Love it. Love it.
Cool. This has been such a fun chat. Hopefully you guys have some cool, fun ideas on how you're going to keep costs low, profits high this summer. Obviously, we're just kind of wrapping up the spring rush here, moving into Memorial Day, but we wish you guys all a very profitable and a very safe summer. And we got Meet the Pro coming up here. Admittedly, don't quite know who we're featuring. I know I'm not doing it. I think Scott is. So you guys get more time with Scott, which is always a good thing. He's a great guy. And we'll be back with another one of these in a month or so. So obviously stay tuned to Echo Means Business on your social media channel of choice. And you'll get all the dates. You'll get all the times. They're obviously smarter than I am, and they know what's going on. So, there we go. Meet the Pro with Richie on June 4th. Gosh, wouldn't want to miss that. Richie Plemons is the man.
Absolutely.
Perfect. Well, I'm Michael from Bedell Property Management, and he is
Orion with law enforcement.
Yeah, buddy. Awesome. Thank you for joining us. Be safe. Take care of each other. And we'll see you June 4th for Meet the Pro with Richie Plemons.